So you have this big giant square. When we're reducing a round cane, you can just start the compression from the middle, and then you get to a point where you can roll it. Well, if you want to keep it square, we obviously cannot roll it like that. So you do want to start by just squeezing a bit. You want to get all those gaps filled. You want to do it gently. So like I said, if you press here, obviously this clay is going to get softer and it's going to squeeze more than the inner one. So you do want to be gentle and kind of, I'm just kind of actually pressing the middle sections here to try and start working in the middle. So it's a matter with when you're reducing an odd-shaped cane, or like a triangle or square, something like that. It's slightly different. We're still compressing. We're doing all sides equally. Going to flip and do this side, but you reach a point where it's like, well, we have to actually put a little muscle in here. If you have a brayer, that helps. What you can do is roll one side, go to the next. All of my equipment squeaks. Maybe I have mice living in it. And flip it over so you want to flip it back and forth. You want to make sure you hit all four sides. Don't concentrate between two of them and neglect the other two. Make sure you're actually taking turns with each side. And it's a little more tedious because you can still do some of the pulling. It's just a little bit more tedious because you're missing the element of every once in a while giving it just a little bit of a roll, even though you don't want to always roll your round ones. You're missing that element. So it takes a little bit longer, and you have to pay attention to making it even. But you can see, those gaps are filled in, and everything's still pretty square. So you just keep on reducing like that. I've done one that's a little bit further on. You can see it does have a good amount of distortion inside. That's always a problem reducing canes. You're always going to lose your ends. Some it's harder to control than others. There's ways of trying to do it. Some people will smack it down there and kind of create a suction, trying to keep that middle part pulling out with the others and not sucking in on itself like that. But it's tough. You're always going to lose the ends of your clay. But you can see, now that I've been reducing this for a while, it's all uniform. I still have a ways to go. It's like any other cane. If you want to stop and take a bunch of slices here, you can see I cut this off, but it's still, I lost my red way down in there, so I probably can't get a good cut until somewhere in here. Let's try and see how far down it goes. This might squish a bit because of the legs, but oh, see, there we go. We're in farther, and we've got everything pretty well intact. But this is a perfect example of what I'm always talking about. Outer edges always reduce more because of the heat of your hand and the pressure from your hand. So look how small the outer ones are compared to those inner ones. Now, if that bothers you, you actually could start by making the inner square here a tiny bit smaller to start with. That's especially important in some canes where you can control the center and proportionally you kind of guess how small you have to make it compared to the others. But this is a perfect example of what I've been talking about, where the inner reduces less than the outer. But anyway, it's fun. It's a great way to use up lots of scrap canes. You don't have to make all these, by just to do this cane. If you have scrap canes all lying around, you can just put them together like this. You can certainly put them together into a round cane or whatever shape you want. I just thought it would be fun to do a square one this time and learn how to reduce the square. But that's the basics. That's your midterm exam, putting together all of the information you've learned so far. 5 or 6 different cane methods, reducing using a brayer and flipping it around. And there you go, square multiple component cane. You passed.